You were a child of the 1980s and 1990s. You grew up with the Land Cruiser Series 100, the Land Cruiser Colorado. But if you were a child of the 80s and 90s, you probably grew up with the most famous model of Land Cruiser out there, and that is the Land Cruiser Series 80. Today I'm gonna show you all the things you need to know about how this rig became one of the most iconic cars in off-road history. The Land Cruiser Series 80, or possibly known as the Land Cruiser 80 series, or likely called FJ80, at some point is a legendary motor vehicle produced by Toyota in Japan since 1989 towards 1997. The Land Cruiser 80 series features a inline-six 180 horsepower turbocharged diesel engine called the 1HZ Big Block diesel engine, which is a popular engine used for the Land Cruiser Series 80 towards late 1989 towards mid 1997. This may allude to the fact that most people don't understand Land Cruiser types because they got stuck with all the earlier variants and the later ones. But the Land Cruiser Series 80 was no different. But why choose the Land Cruiser Series 80, you ask? Well, because throughout the countries of Australia, UAE, the United States, and the Philippines itself, likely the Land Cruiser Series 80 has been known for one of the most iconic nameplates in history. The Series 80 had been featuring lots of cultural influences among off-road enthusiasts and car lovers alike. What is so interesting about the Land Cruiser Series 80 is that it has a lot of quirks and features that you probably missed, such as the rear window defogger. It got anti-lock brakes, manualized differential locks, and likely for most cases, people don't obviously understand how many other secrets that the Land Cruiser series holds. The Land Cruiser 80 series also has this unique feature that allows you to use the aircon vents using the outside vents of the Land Cruiser Series 80 that is probably seen next to the windshield. If you click the button with the air vent, you can obviously see that when you move forward, you can actually feel that there's air coming out of the vents, but as you move a little bit faster, it is likely that the air vents would likely suck in more air as it was beneficial. This may likely share that the fact that the Land Cruiser Series 80 got its first ever air vent flowing technology started since 1989. Very unique for a Land Cruiser 80 series for its time. The story of the Land Cruiser Series 80 dated back to its time with the Land Cruiser Series 70 and the Land Cruiser Series 60. Among another thing about is the Land Cruiser Series 80 was practically called as the Bubblehead, which is likely one of the strangest names in Land Cruiser history because the Land Cruiser Series 80 was called that due to its almost rounded shape and almost feels like you're driving a luxury car. Another oddity surrounding the Land Cruiser Series 80 is that its Lexus counterpart was called the LX450, which is exactly what you would obviously guess. It's actually a Land Cruiser body with Lexus luxuries in it. I mean, I don't think it's obvious that you would obviously mistake a Land Cruiser and the Lexus to be the same, but here's the catch. Toyota Land Cruiser and the Lexus LX models were using the same body chassis as well as the body frame, which is likely true because Lexus is likely the sister sibling of Toyota, which is known for luxury cars. The Land Cruiser history has been an iconic resemblance to that of the freedom and the life of off-roading. The Land Cruiser Series 80 has been proven as one of the most recognizable Land Cruiser series models ever found out there. And I could obviously oblige you this that I actually did own a Land Cruiser Series 80. Being restored right now until next year, I think. The Land Cruiser 80 series was actually the very first modernized Land Cruiser to be considered a modernized classic. Because it was built in 1989, it finally got electronic air conditioning, automatic antenna, and power windows. This is likely the very first 1990s Land Cruiser to be using the most luxurious of all parts, unlike its previous counterparts. When people first met the Series 80 Land Cruiser in any other nation, they just realized something about it. Why didn't it not come to the United States in the first place? Well, it's likely due to the fact that most Japanese brands rather give in to the production costs at that time, and likely Lexus was the only one that had the Land Cruiser Series 80 in the United States, which obviously explains why the Land Cruiser Series 80 was a Lexus in the United States instead of just being, well, a Toyota on its own. What do people understand is that not only that the Land Cruiser Series 80 became a symbolic icon, it also became a character that no one even expected. It was such a massive success that people nowadays are still driving one today. If you were a Land Cruiser fan, you would possibly ask yourself, if I had the Land Cruiser 80 series, what would I do with it? And your answer would be this. Of course, if you have an 80 series Land Cruiser, that means you're considered lucky. Well, I guess some people are lucky to have a Land Cruiser Series 80. The Land Cruiser Series 80 has been one of the most undeniable, untouched country type of Land Cruiser to ever exist. The Land Cruiser Series 80 wasn't just a vehicle, it was special, it was reliable, it was built to last forever. It became a symbolic icon that rebelled against the world as we know it. Today, Land Cruiser people are now cherishing the true legacy of the Land Cruiser Series 80 today, even far beyond its generation. Even though it may be a 34 years old vehicle, I could obviously understand that most Land Cruiser people just refuse to give it up. The Land Cruiser Series 80 wasn't just an option. It wasn't just a vehicle. It was a purpose. It was a weapon for survival. I hope you guys enjoy watching this video. Make sure that you go comment, like, and subscribe. And don't forget to hit that notification bell. I'll see you all next time.